Hello, everyone. I'm James Dinowitz for Mythic Writer. Today, we're going to talk about what does it take to become a novelist? Becoming a novelist, what is involved in that? Obviously, the first thing you have to do is write a novel. Well, kidding aside, to become a novelist, you need to be a special kind of person, a person who reflects on life, a person who observes life, an observer of life, someone who studies other people, someone who is endlessly curious. The important thing about becoming an author, especially a novelist, is to really study the craft. Writing a novel is one of the hardest things anyone can do. I've worked a lot of jobs in my life, done a lot of things, but I could say that writing a novel, putting together a good novel, is a monumental challenge. It's something you could definitely do, but you need to have writing skills. You need to understand how story is made and works and flows. And you don't get these skills just from watching movies. I see a lot of people today who've never really read novels, studied writing, taken any writing courses, read any books on writing, and they think they'll sit down and write a novel. Quite frankly, when you go into discussion groups and saying things like that, sometimes you get some snarky comments, and it's because people that really take writing and the craft of writing seriously kind of get offended by that. It's the old notion of you'll see so often someone will say, "What do you do?" You say, "Oh, I'm a writer." And like, yeah, I think I'm going to write some books and stuff as soon as I get done with my more important job that I've been doing for 20 years. And all I have to do is just decide one day that I'll be writing novels, and that's it. But there's really a lot more to it than that. You really do need to study some craft, learn writing, because if you don't, when you put out your book, it'll be obvious that you don't know what you're doing. You may be likely to put out a story that's been done about 1,000 times, pretty mundane. And if you're writing from the perspective of just movies, you're going to miss out on the true craft of writing a novel, because a novel is completely different than a movie. You're going into the character's head. You're you're having to describe things. You're bringing a lot more senses into the reader's mind than a movie does. Really, a movie is visual and auditory, and that's really it. You might get some sensations from the movie. Someone's in mud, you might sort of feel that feeling, what it might be like in mud, but it's nothing like in a novel. So the other important part of becoming a novelist is being willing to be a student of life, to go out and live, do some things in life, have some romance, have some serious relationships, have some interesting, happenings in your life, become involved in different groups and communities, get involved with a political campaign or something. Just do something to live, get to know other people, and try to get to know people different than you, especially if, like me, you come from a small town. You need to get out there and meet people from the big city. You need people from other areas, maybe other states if you can, to expand your knowledge of people and life. Life in New England is drastically different than life in the Midwest. A lot of people like to think that, you know, one place is just the same as the next, but there's a lot of subtle differences. And these differences can really make an impact in your writing. So the other part about being a novelist is being willing to put in the work. Maybe write a novel or two that really isn't good enough to publish. You don't just send it off to Amazon. So you want to really focus on that, and also understand that if you're going the standard publishing route, it's not easy to make a lot of money as a novelist. Some people do, but most people don't. So if you do wind up going independent publishing route, you probably stand a chance of actually making more of an income from that, more of a potential full-time income. And so this would be something for you to consider. Uh, I also want you to know that novel writing is very rewarding. You really get into it. You've got to be prepared. You need to, when you're done for the day, allow yourself 10, 20 minutes to decompress before you go around other people, because you'll find that you feel sometimes even agitated to be around other people or dealing with mundane daily tasks after you've been in this fantastic world of the novel. So you need a little time to kind of decompress. I think that's a good time to check your email, do some basic things, get yourself back into the real world, and then go around people. So leave a little time in there. The other most important thing is to write every day if you can. I think at least 6 days a week. Try to, even if it's just an hour, try to get that in. That keeps that flow going. It's almost, if you think of it like a runner or an exercise, by keeping your muscles going and your body moving, it's easier to keep your body going and moving. So just get in there, do it every day. If it's only an hour a day, focus on it. To me, the best thing to do is to have a great plot. Now, there's a lot of people that, call themselves pantsers or whatever. And I think that if you are born with an innate ability of storytelling and you have studied writing and you know the writing craft, you might sit down and write a novel by the seat of your pants. But I also think a lot of these are the same people who are coming to writing groups saying, I'm 50, I'm 80 pages into the book, and now I don't know what to do. I don't know where the story's going. Of course you don't, because you probably didn't plot it out. You didn't do any kind of outline. And it doesn't have to be, beat by beat, every last little detail that's going to happen in the novel, in the plot. When I say plot, you should have a great idea of your storyline, maybe where your sub storylines are going to go. You should have this plotted out somewhat, especially if it's your first novel. Let me put it this way. There's nothing wrong with plotting it out and trying to see how far you can get in your mind in the novel. Maybe you get 3/4 of the way in and then you say, I just gotta have to write this and have some faith. That might work. It's not going to hurt you to have, made a plot and then you decide, I'm going to write by the seat of my pants. At least you've sat there and thought the story out. Maybe don't look at the plot. I just really strongly suggest that you do plotting, especially your first novel. See how it goes. I think it's very handy. Now, there is no better tool to help an author plot out a novel than Scrivener. I will probably have some links to Scrivener in my videos and on my webpage, mythicwriter.com, for you to go to. I love Scrivener. I found Scrivener a few years back, and it really is the top writing tool. What it does, it just helps you organize your thoughts. It does something kind of unique too, as far as a word processor, and that you could write chapter by chapter, but then you can have it all put together in one book. And it's just a lot easier to use than things like Word and so forth. Has a lot of great features, has note cards. So I would try that. So get you something like that that's going to help you out. It's going to help you plot. It's going to help you organize your thoughts and your story. And then you're off to the races. Don't be afraid if you get into the story, things crop up that you didn't plan for. You might have to sort of go through and adjust your plot. That's okay. That's really how plotting is supposed to work. I think a lot of people think you sit down, write out your plot, and you just stick to it like it's a roadmap. But really, a plot is a guide. Think of a plot as a guide, a brainstorming guide that you do before you start writing to try and give you an idea of where you're going, where your story is, where your momentum is. And then you do kind of write by the seat of your pants a little bit. So really, you do a little bit of both. And that really frees you up. And you'll find if you're really sticking true to story, you'll find that you are coming up with things that you just never imagined at the beginning. And that means your story is working, and that's good. Don't resist those things. Don't say, well, that's not the plot, I need to take that out. If it seems like it's natural and it's happening, let it happen. Keep right as far as you can get, then go back and kind of see if you can reconcile that new turn of events with where your plot is. See how it changes your plot. See how you might want to alter it a little bit. When I wrote my first novel, I kind of had a lot of it mapped out, almost the whole thing. And then I'd go through and write, and things would come up. New things would pop up, sometimes even new characters. And I'd kind of go through and adjust my plot a little bit and fix it around a little bit. And that's okay. So expect for those things to happen. And I think that you will become a great novelist. You just need to work at it. Take it seriously. Take your craft seriously. Enroll in college or some online classes. Read books. Read at least, I always say at least 10 to 20 books on writing and novel writing. One great book I will leave you with is How to Write a Damn Good Novel by Fry. He's actually got a couple books in the series. They are all great books to read and really help you understand story. On my website, I will eventually be putting some other references and some of my favorite writing books that I like. So until then, everybody keep writing those mythic stories and keep being a mythic writer.